Fully cyberpunk style meets skirmish combat in Infinity. Experience 8 high-tech factions and fight to control the human sphere at the Infinity Hub on beastofwar.com. Progress comes to a world of magic as science and the arcane combine to make marvels. Meet steampunk inventors and orc mystics at the Volsun Hub on beastofwar.com.
Hello everybody and welcome to What's in the Box. Today myself and John are having a look at some bolt action. We have the Marder Zug.
Yes. This is lovely.
You happy?
Yes, because I remember when, was it Lance and Ben that were filming at the Warlord's birthday anniversary?
Yeah, the open day?
Yeah. And Ben was sat down with Mr. Stallard himself.
Yes.
My big man crush. Or he could be my uncle. I'd like that as well. I'd be totally fine with that.
I think he'd be a very cool uncle to have.
He would be amazing. Hey John, do you want to take the MG42 out? Yes, I do. He was talking about what was the upcoming kits, and one of them was a plastic Marder. And as soon as I heard that, I went, yes, I need this. And then it arrived.
Right. Well, it's arrived. I will open the box.
So 3 in the box, as per the usual Zug box sets.
Yep.
They're all
getting the bits that I need.
Yep. So get the paperwork out. There's a card in there too. There you go. Right.
I unboxed it.
Yeah, you unboxed it. Well done.
All right. So what we have here. What is this?
This is our instruction sheet, as well as a little bit of historical detail on the vehicle as well.
Takes you through your sprues. Through the components and builds.
Yep.
Okay. And is there just the one variant in this box?
Yes.
Okay.
This variant is the Marder 3H, but there was like 7 or 8 different types all over the place. This is one of the rarer ones I found because it only really saw service in Russia.
Okay.
And
I can understand why it's rarer then.
Yeah, it's seen service in Russia, and I think there was a little bit of it in... What? What was this?
It's blowing up. That's why it's rare. It was in Russia.
I think
my jokes.
I think a few of them went to the African place as well, but that's about it. Yeah, nice vehicles.
Right.
Based on a very old tank.
Right.
Old tank, Panzer 38T.
Ah, okay.
Everybody knows it as what became the Hetzer.
This is one thing I always wondered. Whenever you had an older tank chassis, did they just try and keep them running by, turning them into this, turning them into the Hetzers?
Yeah, the Germans were particularly good at it. The British were probably the worst at it because when they had an old tank that became obsolete, it was generally a piece of scrap and should never be used for anything ever again. Valentine, I'm looking at you. Valiant, I'm looking at you.
Okay.
What, but
right.
the Germans were better at it because the Germans had one big advantage.
Right.
They had, when they moved into Czechoslovakia, had got their hands on the Skoda works.
Right.
And Skoda was bringing out all these, the Panzer 35, or the 35T and the 38T, and not bad vehicles on their own, weren't particularly effective, but when the French campaign happened, the Germans had a lot of Panzer 38Ts, and they found that they were quite good and they were quite reliable. One thing they noted was the suspension was really good on them. Just big leaf springs with 2 big disc wheels that just sat on the leaf springs. Right. Simple as you like. Yeah. And worked really well. And yeah, do you want to get on with the sprues first?
Yeah, sprues.
Let me continue after this.
Yeah. Okay. So we start off. We have upper hull.
Yep.
Lower hull.
Yep.
Top of a stowage box, or?
Let me have a look there. That's part of the hull plate, I think.
Okay. Exhaust.
Yep.
Spare track. This.
That's a little box for the back of the engine bay, I think.
Okay. You have the turning points on the tracks. Top and bottom of the tracks here.
Yep.
This. Machine gun port.
Machine gun port. Yeah.
This.
Fire extinguisher.
Okay.
Stowage box.
Okay. Jack.
Track jack.
Machine gun.
Yep.
We then have these hatches.
They are front hubs for the drive wheels.
Oh, okay.
Drive wheels.
We then have all our little towing hooks.
Yeah, but they're not exactly all towing hooks. This one.
Yeah, what's this tiny one?
This one's particular. You'll see it when it's built.
Okay.
I'll explain it when it's built.
And I'm seeing another little machine gun here.
No, that's a light.
A what?
That's a light.
That's okay. That's a light.
That's the convoy light for the front
Okay.
of the mud
We
guards.
then have the main track
Suspension.
suspension.
Yep.
We then have hull.
Yep.
And this is more hull.
That's back of the engine bay.
Okay. Other sprue.
Other sprue. Other sprue is where the gunny stuff happens.
Okay. What is this? Is this the actual?
That's the upper deck where the gun's mounted.
Oh, okay.
So what they're standing on is the engine. The
Ah.
crew stand on the engine and the gun's mounted forward of it.
Got it. Got it. This?
If I could even see it from where you're at. That is the main part. That's the part of the main gun.
Okay. We have
Gun
the
shield.
gun shields.
More gun shield.
Yep.
More gun mount.
Yeah. Gunner.
Crew. Yep. Gun
Cool.
rest.
Okay. These little handles.
They are supports for the gun shield.
Okay. This thing
That's
is
the thing to attach the gun to the hull.
okay. We then obviously have our crew.
Yep.
We have 4 crewmen
Mm-hmm.
or 3 crewmen.
4.
4. Okay.
I think is it 4 or 3?
No, I think it's 3.
3.
Okay. We have these.
They are brackets to hold a canvas roof on.
Okay. Do you get the canvas roof?
No,
Okay.
that's the same thing to go over the top of the gun shield.
Uh-huh.
That's a travel lock for the
Yeah.
gun. That's
We have
ammunition.
ammunition, spent and unspent.
Mm-hmm.
We have stowage bins.
Are they stowage bins? They are not. They are hull sides. Upper
whoops.
hull side plates.
Whoops. Sides of the hull.
Yep.
We then have little wheels and stuff.
Little wheels and stuff. Yeah, that's elevation and traverse for the gun.
Yep. Holy crap, the gun's big.
Yeah, the gun is big.
The gun is huge.
It's huge.
Uh,
More hull plate.
yep.
That's ammunition stowage.
Okay. We have a turret basket with seats.
I wouldn't call it a turret basket. It's a rest or
Okay.
a basket.
All right. More gun mount. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Back to your tangent, if you please.
A lot of complex bits on this kit, though, isn't there?
Yeah. It's figuring out what's to go where, but we have our instructions for that.
Yeah. So, Marder,
Hmm.
or do you want me to build the kit first?
Let's build the kit.
Okay, let's build
All
the
right.
kit.
We'll be right back. Okay, John, you've got it built.
Yes.
It's pretty.
It's pretty.
It's very pretty.
I also built it without the crew.
Is that deliberate?
Yes.
Do you want to paint the crew? Do you want to make them look pretty?
I actually kind of just wanted to admire the model for what it was without the men stood on it, getting in the way of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it's tall.
It is
I'm gonna
very
say that
tall,
right
yeah.
now. It feels very, very tall. It's
Yeah.
probably a small tank.
I think Marder stands about 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not a big tank to begin with, and then you stick a whopping big anti-tank gun on the top of it.
Yeah, I have to say the thing actually looks like if when this fires, it would probably just sit up.
Oh, not so bad actually. It's
Really?
it's
The
quite
recoil's good.
Yeah, it's quite good firing front on apparently, but it has good suspension.
All right. And how far was the traverse
You managed to break it.
on it?
I'm just not.
Apologies.
You just. I try my best.
Yeah.
I try. I can't.
It's plastic. We can fix that.
I know we can fix that. I might have to replace it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the traverse in reality isn't far beyond. I think it's like 30 degrees total.
So it would go about there.
Yeah, should sort of point off each front corner, and that would be about as far as you'd want to take it. You wouldn't dare fire it too side on, or the tank would throw itself over.
I mean, I doubt if it would. I mean, I can actually feel where it tries to stop here.
Yeah, so it's about as far as it would go. You wouldn't take it much further than that either way, really.
And once you actually have your crew in here, would you even be able to rotate that?
Probably not. No. It's quite cramped. I will give them that. It is quite a cramped little vehicle.
Well, I mean, like I can see you have a driver and machine gunner's position in the front.
Yeah, driver, machine gunner, and then a 3-man gun crew.
Yeah,
So commander, gunner, loader.
yeah. And then I kind of like where they put the little bit of a seat rest in the back here. It looks kind of cool.
I actually think. Bring it back under close camera.
Yeah.
I actually think those are removable from the back of the basket to put on the 2 folding seats that are outside the side of the hull. Because these, those fold up and over into the crew compartment. So I think those are the seat backs for them.
Oh, I see. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, like a little
But I mean,
tractor
even
seat.
if you were just planting yourself down in there.
It doesn't look amazingly uncomfortable, does it? If you had
No.
your bedroll out there, it'd be quite snug.
You'd have a bit of space.
Yep.
I mean, like one person's on watch. Oh, how the hell did the driver and the co-driver get out?
There are hatches.
There are hatches?
There are small hatches.
Oh, I see them.
There are very small hatches.
Those are some very small hatches.
And as far as I can remember, there is not a lot of room between the driver's head and the bottom of the gun mount, so I don't even think they can get out through.
Yeah.
They probably can. I think they can, but it would be such a tight squeeze you wouldn't bother.
Yeah, let's just say if you need to get out in a hurry, maybe not.
Yeah. So Marder.
Yes.
Everything about Marder. I love the idea behind it, because it is basically taking an obsolete vehicle and saying, well, we have this gun, but this gun doesn't go on to any other vehicle we produce currently, so let's stick it on that. And they think, well, that's a good idea, let's go for it. That's what happened with all the Marder series, and then eventually the Hetzer became like a purpose-built sort of little tank destroyer and became very successful in its own right.
Yeah, and the Hetzer just looks cute.
Yep.
Yeah, this
Plus,
is a bit of a mongrel.
Oh, but it's a beautiful mongrel.
Yes.
Because it takes Czechoslovakian technology, puts German engineering onto it with a Russian gun.
That's a Russian gun?
Mm-hmm. Initially, when they started putting these things together, because they were doing so well in Russia, they were capturing thousands of pieces of artillery and guns and all the stuff that the Russian army couldn't retreat with at the time.
Right.
And they went, well, we have all these guns. They're all 76 millimeters. These are pretty damn good guns.
Yeah.
What do we do with it? Right.
Were they capturing the ammunition for them, or were they able to just make the ammunition for them, or was it a standardized thing?
What they did was they rechambered the back of the breech to accept the Pak 40 75mm gun.
Ah, okay.
To accept the round for that, so they didn't have to worry about capturing Russian supply. They just used their own. But eventually they switched the guns out when their own supply caught up with it. They switched them out to Pak 40s.
Right. So
that went from a Russian 75, 76 to a German 75.
And what, were these just converted in the field, or?
They're probably, I could imagine, I don't know the development history from the start, but I would imagine that in the Skoda works, or perhaps in the tank testing facility up near where they tested and built the V1s, up on the Baltic coast, Peenemünde. There was a tank testing ground near Peenemünde, and they went, well, let's put stuff together. There's a lot of crap that's coming in, and this tank is at the end of its life.
Yeah. So
it's not costing the German military anything if we take a bunch of these and start messing with them.
Yeah.
And that's where they came up with the whole Marder series. They just took the 38T, whipped the turret off, built another structure on the top of it, smacked a gun on it, and went, that'll do.
Was it effective?
This is definitely an ambush vehicle. Okay. This is definitely sit back and hurt someone from a long way off, because you have, at best, for the gun crew, a 1/4 inch of steel separating you from everything that is throwing discontent at you.
So basically, I would want to stand right behind and just run a string up to the firing lever.
And just crouch, and every time you fire it, run up and reload it. But
well, someone draws a short straw for that one.
Yeah, but I would imagine these are very successful little vehicles because A, they're cheap, B, they're built on stuff that they know works.
Yeah.
So they haven't had to over-engineer anything up to like Tiger standards or Panther standards. This stuff does not break down very much. Of course it does, but not as much.
Yeah.
So they're using tried and tested technology. They're not modifying it beyond all recognition.
Yeah.
The main thing for me, though, is in the field, this is a small target. It is quite a small target. It may be 8 foot tall, but a Sherman is 12 foot tall.
Yeah.
A Tiger is about 10.5 foot tall. You know, by comparison, the big cats and the big toys in the battlefield are a lot bigger than this little thing.
Yeah. So you that, and it doesn't have the silhouette.
Yeah.
That someone would look at and go, "That's a Tiger. I need to kill that."
It's also narrow. I think a Panzer 38T is only about 5.5 foot wide.
Really?
They are very narrow little vehicles. So I mean, when you're sat in this thing, you're like, but it's narrow, which means it's also easier to dig in. So if you got this thing hull down, you're only showing 1.5 foot of your vehicle successfully hull down. Very hard to hit. Would only look like a regular anti-tank gun.
Yeah.
Until it fired and said, "I'm moving," and all of a sudden it just disappeared, and you went, "What was that?"
Well, this is the thing. If you had a lot of these dug in on like a ridgeline or something, firing down into an allied troop, that could be quite vicious.
It's what the Germans did fantastically well in many engagements in Russia and many engagements in Tunisia and Normandy, is that they found a piece of high ground and they just went, "Make us move."
Yeah, I do still think that the Russian invasion was tactically not so sound.
You could talk about how good Operation Barbarossa went from many different perspectives. I think the goals were too vast, and I think Germany had the right approach. Guderian definitely had the whole army group, north, center, and south, good ideas.
Yeah.
But they should have been supporting each other in their move rather than one swinging up north and one swinging down south to get the oil fields, and one making its way towards Moscow. They should have let Army Group Center shove to Moscow and made that the objective, and then had the other north and south flank guard on the way up, because that was the only way they were going to defeat the Russian army en masse at the time.
We'll cut the head off, yeah.
Although they do say, they have been arguing that Moscow wasn't really the best objective.
Really?
But to be honest, if you break into the Kremlin, put a bullet through Stalin's head, there's a lot of people that are suddenly, weren't really sympathizing with Stalin, are suddenly going to go, well, that's the war over for me then, and just walk away.
Yeah, that, and it's, I mean, like, Stalingrad was a bit of a mess up.
It was a huge mess. The
now,
Germans
I can understand
did not
from
conduct that
a political standpoint why they would want to go after it, because taking that would have really demoralized the Russians.
It didn't.
No?
It didn't.
No.
And neither did any of the other big sieges that happened, Leningrad and all that sort of stuff. It just did not happen.
See, this is the thing. I thought the Russians really pushed, because it was named after, like, Stalin or Lenin. You know, if this city fell, it would have damaged the morale. It
was pushed by the Russians because the Russians' Politburo, the elites of the Soviet Union, deemed it important because it held Stalin's name.
Ah, okay.
To the standard infantryman or standard civilian in Stalingrad, it didn't matter a damn what that city was called. Yeah. It didn't matter that your city was important because of prestige. This whole weird thing that prestige is important in war, which it's absolutely not. And if you're a general out there watching this and you disagree with me, reconsider your job.
Oh, John, do not piss off high-ranking military. I apologize for John.
If prestige is something that you're going to war for, reconsider your job. That's what happened with Hitler and Stalin. They they gave things value that had no intrinsic value. Why would you take Stalingrad? What did it have for resources? Nothing. What did it have for production? A few tank factories. Nothing.
So aside from giving the opposing leader, flipping in the bird and having done with it.
Yeah. Let's capture the city that's named after their leader because that's important to me. Every other soldier's going, why are we here?
Yeah.
Do what the German army does best, bypass and move on. You have all these panzer groups, you have thousands of armored vehicles and half-tracks and artillery and aircraft in support. And what do? You start a siege with the most mobile force that has ever existed in Europe for centuries? And you make a siege?
Fair enough.
Where's the sense in that?
Trust me, there are a lot of things during World War II you look at it and go, what was the sense of that?
Yeah. Although, to be fair, when the German forces in Normandy had, was it Hill 2-1 something? Where they just bedded in a bunch of Tigers, Panthers, 88s, artillery, and just said to the Allies, you will have to make us move. And they took a lot of air power to get them shifted, and eventually they had to be assaulted. That is how you conduct a successful counter attack or defensive position with a mobile force. Because once the Allies are too close to you, you go, oh look, we'll just back up a mile. There's another bit of high ground. Come at us again. And that's what the Germans did superbly. And if it hadn't been for their leadership, they would have saved a lot more lives and the war would have been a lot shorter.
And possibly went the other way?
No.
No?
Germany was never going to win.
Really?
Never, ever going to win.
Fair enough.
Because once they started looking at Russia and they went, let's go and invade Russia. And then once Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, and Hitler had that glorious decision of, I'm going to declare war on America because Japan's our ally.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that.
And Roosevelt went, what?
No, I would have looked at it and went, Japan, what are you? No. Okay, we are not friends. I am unfriending you in this war.
The biggest political mistake ever made was Germany declaring war on America as a sign of support for their Asian allies. It did not work because all it did was allow Churchill to have the biggest celebration of his life because he could now turn around to America officially and say, we want men, we want tanks, we want support. And Roosevelt actually turned around and went, no problem. And then wrote the Germany First policy.
Germany first?
Germany first. They agreed at one of the first big conferences, Germany's first.
So they have to be taken down first?
Yeah, because they provided the biggest threat.
Yeah.
Because there was also rumors of the nuclear program and all sorts of stuff like that. So Germany first was the policy they went with, and that was Hitler's gigantic biggest mistake of all time.
Fair enough. Well, everybody, that is the Marder Zug. Hopefully you enjoyed our ramble.
Have I annoyed enough people out there yet?
Honestly, I find that very interesting. Everybody, tell you what, if you have your own thoughts on the way the war was conducted, on the actual kit itself, drop your comments in below. We'll move on. We'll see you in the next one.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now, and be sure to check out beastsofwar.com for the latest gaming news and gaming Let's Plays. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.